दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना ईमान में वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना ईमान में वक्त से
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Friday Sermon for Kids. With me this week for his very first time is Usman to my right, and his right is Waleed. Usman, it's your very first time. How does it feel like?
I'm a bit nervous, but I'm very excited to be here.
Jazakallah Usman, and we are very excited to have you as well. Looking forward to an amazing conversation. Now dear audience, beloved Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, has continued to narrate beautiful statements from the Promised Messiah's writings about the best source of guidance we have, but also why it's the perfect one.
इस्लाम एक ऐसा बबरकत और खुदा नुमा मज़हब है कि अगर कोई शख्स सच्चे तौर पर उसकी पाबंदी इख्तियार करे और तालीमों और हदायतों और वसीयतों पर कारबंद हो जाए जो खुदाए ताला के पाक कलाम कुरान शरीफ में मुंदरज हैं तो वो इसी जहान में खुदा को देख लेगा। लोग सवाल करते हैं कि खुदा को अगले जहान में देखना है, किस तरह देखेंगे? आप फरमाते हैं कुरान करीम की तालीम पर अमल करो तो इसी जहान में खुदा को देख लोगे। वो खुदा जो दुनिया की नज़र से हज़ारों पर्दों में है, उसकी शनाख्त के लिए बजूज़ कुरानी तालीम के और कोई भी ज़रिया नहीं।
So dear viewers, we of course are going to be talking about the miraculous and excellent teachings of the Holy Qur'an. I am so excited about this talk today, but before that, you two already know what comes. I have to find out what your newly learned points are. Let's start with you, Usman.
One thing I learned from this week's Friday sermon was that the books like the Torah taught people if someone did wrong to you, you should take an eye for an eye. But the Holy Qur'an teaches its followers to be a bigger and better person.
This week, I learned that the Holy Qur'an shows us a beautiful verse, Sirat al-Mustaqim, guide us to the right path.
Jazakumullah ahsan al-jaza for those wonderful points. We're going to be getting in the details of those points actually, but before we do that, we have to take all of our dear audience to our next segment. Let's go straight to Kids Take.
His Holiness may Allah be his helper quoted the promised Messiah ﷺ, who said that the Holy Qur'an has presented complete knowledge and complete guidance for what actions should be carried out.
We learn that if the Muslims accept the Imam of the age and understand the teaching of the Holy Qur'an and act upon them, then the non-Muslims would never have the courage to dishonor the Holy Quran.
Pyare Huzoor taught us that enmity should reflect whether they follow the teachings of the Holy Quran. Pyare Huzoor also prayed to Allah Ta'ala to enable everyone to do so.
I learned that the Holy Quran has presented complete knowledge and complete guidance.
His Holiness may Allah be his helper, further quoted that the promised Messiah ﷺ, who said that the Holy Qur'an is a source of spiritual healing. It is full of wisdom that has outlined the perfect religion and has placed spiritual healing in line with physical healing.
In today's Friday sermon, beloved Huzoor and the Aziz told us that the promised Messiah ﷺ explained that the stories and accounts found in the Holy Quran are actually prophecies.
Jazakumullah ahsan al-jaza. Dear Kids Take presenters, you don't understand. We absolutely love hearing your take on the Friday sermon. If you forgot to send in a video, make sure you send one in next week. Let's get to our discussion.
So, Murabi Sahib, I know Huzoor Ayyadahullah Ta'ala ibn Aziz mentioned some quotes of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam, but he also mentioned a book in the beginning of the sermon.
Yeah, what was so special about that book exactly?
Usman, that was the perfect question to start off our conversation. Waleed, the book that you're talking about, Huzoor started off the sermon with a quote from it. The name of the book is FS4KIDS, It's a long name, but the meaning is very simple when you translate it in English. In English, that means a gift for the queen. In it, the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, has basically said to the queen, by the way, remember, this is Queen Victoria of England. She was the single most powerful monarch in the world at that time, the head of the British Empire back in the 1800s. He wrote that message to the queen, basically telling the queen that the Qur'an, which is the holy book of Islam, is superior to the gospel, which is the book of your religion, which is Christianity. And I can prove it to you through its teachings and through explanations of it. And this basically shows, Huzoor even mentioned this, that the promised Messiah's love for the truth and bravery was unmatched when it came to defending the Holy Qur'an.
That's why his words hold so much strength in this age. He wasn't afraid what powerful people thought of him. He spoke the truth.
Yeah, no doubt there. But Huzoor Ayadallahu Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz also mentioned that this was a very powerful reply to the non-Ahmadis who said bad things towards the Jamaat, right?
That is absolutely right, Usman. Huzoor basically said that, nowadays, a lot of non-Ahmadi Muslims, they wrongly say that the Jamaat and Ahmadi Muslims don't honor the Holy Qur'an. Number one, that's completely false. But Huzoor presented that basically quote from Tuhfa-e-Qasidiya, the book of the promised Messiah ﷺ, to prove that that's the exact opposite of the truth, right? And Huzoor mentioned specifically a beautiful example. He says because a lot of these non-Ahmadi Muslims' behaviors, a lot of them spread horrible things, right? You know what the state of the world is these days. Because of their behavior, many non-Muslims have wrongfully thought that the Qur'an's message, na'uzubillah, God forbid, is one of hate and violence. That is actually one of the reasons, unfortunately, Huzoor mentioned this, many non-Muslims who haven't properly learned Islam, in Europe specifically, in the Scandinavian countries, right, like in Sweden and Denmark, some of these countries, non-Muslims have started to wrongfully think that Islam and the teaching of the Qur'an is actually about violence and hate. And they've done horrible things like publicly burning the Qur'an out of their hate. That is why the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, came to the world to teach the Muslims how to start following the Qur'an one more time. And Huzoor even mentioned this. He said that had all of these non-Ahmadi Muslims understood the promised Messiah's message, followed the Qur'an rather than just reading it in beautiful voice and then forgetting about the message, then most of this hate that you're seeing against Islam would never have risen.
Alhamdulillah for that. But Huzoor Ayadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz mentioned some beautiful things about the Holy Qur'an which make it superior to other books, right?
Yeah, can we talk about those?
Well, there's one specific thing that Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, mentioned, which the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, has actually written about. That is the attribute of balaghat.
Bala what?
Yeah, Marabi Sahib. I wish I could appreciate that word a little more, but
we have no idea what that even means.
Well, lucky for us, we have our trusted and first-time presenter, Qasir, who's going to take it away with the word of the sermon.
Jazakallah, Murabbi Sahib. So, brothers and sisters, let's learn about the word balaghat. The word is originally Arabic, but is used in many other languages, including Persian, Pashto, and in this instance, Urdu. The simple translation of this word in English is eloquence. Now, you might be wondering what that means. Well, don't worry, because a deeper dive in its Arabic roots will open up the mind. Balaghat comes from the three Arabic letters, Ba, Lam, and Ghain. It means something has reached the peak or best version in conveying a message. Eloquence is basically the difference between saying, be good to your mom, and instead saying, paradise lies under the feet of mothers. It means saying something very deep and complex in a short and beautiful way. That is something the Quran is filled with. Back to you guys.
Jazakumullah ahsan al-jazak Qasir for that wonderful explanation, and I have to say that was quite full of balaghat as well. Now, time for a discussion.
So, Murabbi Sahib, this is an incredible claim. But what are some examples that Huzoor Ayadallahu Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz presented to prove this?
Very good question, Usman. Huzoor used the example from Surah Al-Fatiha, verse number 6. It's a very short but powerful prayer that we do every single day when we're offering salat. The words are, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Now in English, when we translate this, it's very simple wording. We just tell Allah, oh Allah, guide us on the right path, right? But the words are Sirate Mustaqim. If you want to understand the real depth of it, you gotta go in the original language. The word Mustaqim in Arabic means when something is going on a certain course and then something comes to like knock it out of its course, right? The effort to bring it back on that course so it stays straight, that's what's called istiqamat. So that's what Sirate Mustaqim is. And in that, Allah is trying to tell us that what you want to ask for is the constancy and the consistency and staying on the good path. Not just do one or two good things and then, wrap it all up, but constantly be doing good things. And just in this short prayer, you've been taught the entire philosophy of an Islamic lifestyle.
Alhamdulillah. So Huzoor Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz mentioned how the Quran is guidance for the righteous. So I was wondering, what about the one who is not righteous?
Yeah, aren't they the people that need guidance the most?
Honestly, that was a very brilliant question. But the even better part about this question is that its answer is found in this week's Friday sermon. Beloved Huzoor, may Allah be His helper, mentioned how, of course, it's true. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 2, it says that the Quran is Hudal lil Muttaqeen. It is Huda, it is guidance, lil Muttaqeen, people that are righteous. But what does that mean? Does that mean that somebody who's not righteous and pious will simply never find guidance in it? Of course not. You see, the beauty of the Quran is that it serves as a guide to somebody who's ready to change themselves in order to try to understand and adopt the lifestyle of the Quran. So the Quran is like a medicine. It's a shifa. Let's say you've been given a medicine, right? You're sick. The doctor tells you, hey, take this medicine once every single day in the evening. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll buy the medicine. And then you bring the medicine home and then you just put it in the shelf and it stays in the shelf for the next 6 months. And then you're still sick. And then you go to the doctor and you say, Doc, why am I still sick? I bought the medicine, I have it at home, but the doctor's gonna ask you, okay, well, I told you take one every single day. And you did not do that. You did not make that change in your own habit. That's where the definition comes in. The person has themselves first to try becoming righteous, change their own way of thinking about good and evil, implement good in their life. That's when it starts to change your lifestyle. That's how the Quran is supposed to change you. If you keep a dirty mind, if you keep a dirty way of looking at things, you're not going to start seeing good at all. So that's what Huzoor is talking about. He's saying you got to fix what's inside of you to be able to see the good in the Quran, and that's when you'll find the true guidance. It's going to change you.
So what else did Huzoor say regarding other religious books?
I think, Waleed, that is the perfect point that we are going to use to dive into our next amazing segment, for which, dear audience, we go straight to the question of the sermon. Alright, dear audience, we are once more at that incredible segment of the show which is called the question of the sermon. You, dear audience, as well as our two panelists, are going to be given a question with 4 options, and you'll have 10 seconds to get the right answer. The question this week is, what did the promised Messiah ﷺ say that other religious books are like? So it's an example the promised Messiah used, right? Option number 1, they are like a fort that's been abandoned without an army. Number 2, they're like a deserted home without a family. Option number 3, they're like a plate without any food on it. And option number 4, they're like a car without an engine. Your time starts now. And time's up. Osman, what do you have?
Waleed, you can go first. I'm new.
Okay, I think it's number 1, a fort with no army.
I also think it's number 1.
Guys, what in the world were you thinking? Your answer is absolutely correct.
Alhamdulillah. So the real benefit of following the Holy Qur'an only comes when you properly follow the teachings as well.
But Murbi Sahib, other people say they can find God too. How is Islam different?
Well, Huzoor actually talked about this specific point. Huzoor mentioned how somebody, even let alone people who follow other religions, right? People who don't even believe in religion, they themselves can just think about the universe, how it's come into being, and the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, has said they can come to this conclusion and say, there's got to be a God. Like, there's got to be something super intelligent that caused this universe to come into being and basically turned a bunch of rocks and particles and energy into us having a conversation today, right? They can actually think that. But the promised Messiah has mentioned that there's a difference between just thinking and hoping that something like that exists and actually having 100% certainty and then relationship with that being. And that is the difference between there should be and there is. So the promised Messiah says that my example, the way I have connected with God through this teaching, I'm here to tell you that there is. And that is what Islam grants you. Because the way Islam teaches you to connect with God and the way Islam tells you to change your life for the better through the Qur'an's teachings, that is the ultimate path that we are given, right? And that's something that's unique to Islam.
Subhanallah. And I know this sounds a little repetitive, but we still have so much more to cover.
We absolutely do, but that is exactly why we have to recognize that we have a limited amount of time here and why we give that incredible message to our audience every time. So guys, take it away.
Got you, Murbi Sahib. So remember to watch the full khutbah.
And make sure to get back to us with the old critical message.
Did you enjoy this week's Friday Sermon for Kids? Want to know how you can make it even better? Tell us what you learned from beloved Huzoor's Friday Sermon and send your videos at FS4KIDS@MTA.tv no later than every Sunday, and we'll try our best to include them in our next show.
Now, we might not be able to include all your videos every time, but you can see them on our Instagram and Twitter at MTA Canada. Remember, at Friday Sermon for Kids, you're not just the audience, you make the show. See you next week.
Okay everyone, it's time once more for our little review of the sermon. As always, pay close attention.
Beloved Huzoor Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz began his sermon by stating that the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam was a true and brave defender of the Holy Qur'an. In his book named Tuhfa-e-Kaisariya, meaning a gift to the Queen, he told the most powerful monarch, who is Christian, that the Qur'an is a book far better than what her religion can produce. This shows how it is indeed Ahmadi Muslims who truly hold high the standard of honoring the Holy Qur'an, even though many actions of non-Ahmadis cause our beautiful religion and book to appear as bad. It is our responsibility to keep our character good and strong when opponents of Islam do horrible things, like publicly burn the Qur'an out of hate. They don't know the greatness of the Holy Qur'an.
The Holy Qur'an is a book with a very high standard of balaghat. That means eloquence. Eloquence is being able to say Allah in very little words. That is something the Qur'an does. For example, in Surah Al-Fatiha, verse 6, when we pray to Allah saying, guide us to the right path. The Arabic word is Sirat al-Mustaqim. Sirat means way or path, but the word Mustaqim means something that constantly keeps coming back and fixing itself to stay on the right course. That is what Islam teaches us about our life. Huzoor then said, the Quran is a guidance for the righteous people.
But that should never make us think that there is absolutely no guidance in the Holy Qur'an for people who are not righteous or good. There is deep meaning in that statement. Huzoor Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz explained how the real benefit from the Qur'an is one gets by actually following the teachings of the Holy Qur'an. Because the Qur'an is a unique book whose true guidance can only be shown when you actually follow it. Those who try to become righteous and fix themselves, they are the ones who truly benefit. This applies to all human beings, and it is this teaching that has truly shown people that they should not stay in a position where they are only saying there should be a God, but that there is one. This is the ultimate spiritual certainty that the Qur'an takes one to, and the example the promised Messiah ﷺ has shown in this age. And of course, remember, just like we tell you every single time, these are just a few flowers from the garden that is Huzoor's khutbah. So,
make sure to watch Huzoor's full Friday sermon.
And until next week,
Khuda Hafiz.
एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना, दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना, इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना, इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना.